So welcome to Bunny's Oops. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live show on impromptu Saturday, and this is one of the first books, if not the first, expensive book that I bought. Or when I say expensive, a real colouring book, apart from the kind of mandalas and things. And I love this book, but it's been neglected, so I thought I'd do a really quick flick. And my Derwent art bars arrived, so I have a full set, apart from number 71, which I don't think you can get anymore. That's a mixing bar, so I don't have that one. But apart from that, I've got nearly every other colour. So I have 71 colours, and they're really easy to do in a colour book because they have a flat edge. So you can get a straight edge, or you can get a sharp edge, or you can get some flat colour, a bit like using the side of a pencil. So you can use it for big spaces, and so I thought it'd be perfect for this. And it took about 2 minutes. So again, really like that really quick. So I'll do a very quick flick, and then I'll have a bit of a play with those. So this inspired me with my Derwent watercolour pencils, and I love the fact that you could scratch a little bit of colour and your pages were really flat. And I think I used a water brush or a rigger, but nothing too wet. I've put on these pastel, I've put some notes, that's the other thing I do, put some notes on. So I've got pastel pencils and pastels on that one. Not sure what colours I'm going to do on here. I thought the art bars would look quite good because again we've got some big spaces. Sometimes a colour page will jump out colours to me. So this is done with Inktense pencils and from a paper palette. So I've actually coloured this. Instead of scratching the pencil, I've actually used them on paper palettes. So you can get more colour that way. I haven't decided what to do with that one. This is kind of bony and grey, so maybe a grayscale would be good. Graphite tint might be good on that one. Again, not sure about that one. This was done with Derwent pastel pencils, and these have not been fixed, hence the tracing paper. So I love the pastels, but you must put tracing paper between because the yellow will smudge on the other side until I fixed it. Not sure what to do with that one, not sure what to do with this one either. This is Derwent watercolour pencils, and there's a few videos on this one. If I'd made a few notes on that one. There's lots of hidden creatures and things. I like this one because it's my childhood. Big cell phones and big tall towers for our computers. Crisps, the calculators are still there. There was something else that I remember. Oh, the little cassette recorder, the personal cassette recorder. Love that. Still got mine. The electric shaver. Really enjoyed this particular page. This is the one that I did with pencils, and I actually scratched them onto the surface, so it's all been covered in pencil. And then again, there's about 3 videos I think, and then I've manipulated the colours with a damp brush. This one is Inktense, and again, I love the fact you can get some really soft colours with these Inktense. Haven't decided about that one. The pages are really thick on here. I love that page as well. This one again is in pastel and it hasn't been fixed, so although they've been blended in with a blending tool. I still got to be a little bit careful, but they will be fixed with just a damp brush. Again, I love this one with the pots of paintbrushes and the Filofax. Lots of things from childhood. Little tin of paints there, ink bottles, eyedroppers, and I think somewhere there's a rotary pen, an old-fashioned drawing pen. So I like that one. I've put Derwent pastel pencils again, but I've blended them with a brush this time. So just scratch a bit of colour and manipulate it with a damp brush and it's completely set. And this one is watercolour pencils, and there's a video on this one, and then I put stickles on this one so they made sparkles on the Christmas baubles. And I've just started this one where I scratched a little bit of colour. I don't think I've done anything else. No. So because I've started the page, I need to put a little sticker on there. And I'm using these little post-its. So put a little sticker. And as you can see, there's a lot on the top and there's not many on the side. So again, that's nothing I've got to address, is to get rid of my, is to actually work through and enjoy the colour books. So I'll zoom in and you can see what I'm doing. And I've got a bit more control over my laptop and I can see chat. Yes, Judy, I had. There is, because I think, and he's again a line drawing artist like me, so I think that's his thing. I'm pretty sure he's about my age as well. So obviously he was into his rotaring. He was into his rotaring pens. I've forgotten which one it was. I was drawing it and it's a rotaring pen. Forgotten which one it was. And I actually noticed that it was definitely a rotaring pen. And did it look like a book? I think it looked like a book. I'm not sure if it was this one. And it looked like it was a pen, but just on the last bit there's the ridge on it, so of course it's actually a standing up biro pen, but it does look like a rotaring pen. So as I think, because this is drawn with rotaring, because it's what we used as illustrators and designers and drawers. There's the bottle of ink. So Judy says on every one there's a bottle of ink and a brush or a paintbrush or a drawing, some kind of drawing implement. And of course I was a pile of books. Look, oh, they look like my pile of books. There's a pile of books there. But I'm sure I'd coloured one. I think it's on the one with the, because again this is when this came out, which was Walking in the Air, and again I'm pretty sure that's what this is from. It's very similar, and of course I can't find it because I want it. Can't find it. Nope, it's gone. I'll probably find it when I'm not looking for it. Ah, there's the biro, but there is a proper rotaring pen somewhere. But that's a Parker because it's got the arrow. Oopsie. There's the Parker because it has the arrow. And I'm pretty sure I found it. The old tills as well, that's an old till. And Battenberg as well. Everybody remember Battenberg cakes? And our old spiral things here. 1993 signet ring look. Maybe a school class ring. Artists always have to put a little bit of themselves in there. So there's always something. But I did find a specific rotary pen, but I won't be able to find it today. And all the bookshelves are names of books. The title's slightly changed, which is very kind of unique. This is the one that it's very much like Walking on the Air, which came out quite early on. There's the eyedropper with the inks. And the fan brushes, the Chinese brushes, pointed brushes. Little pot of paints. That's an old plastic biro. And of course the old laptop. In fact, that looks like my Dell. That looks like my laptop that I use now. But as I say, somewhere is my rotary pen. In this corner we have the scalpel, and the scalpel doesn't pointing upwards and doesn't have an eraser on the top. It's just sticking up right there. So he's obviously, and the ink bottle, he's obviously not bothered. We should draw with Chinese brushes as well. But as I say, I'm pretty sure I've seen somewhere an actual, because it's got a funny top as the rotary pen, and that's the Chinese Indian ink that we used, or the Chinese black ink, which is waterproof, which you need when you're doing illustration work. So there's all sorts of things. Fantastic books. Old CD players, record players. And there's our laptops with the big square. So our square laptops with. He was quite posh if he had a tower, a stand tower. You can always tell somebody about their age with what they draw. So there's lots of things on this one to do. So I've done the parrot, and I scratched some colour in. So I'm using these little art bars, and I think that's the black. I used the brown. Put a little bit of burnt umber, and because it has a flat surface, you can get a nice effect, and you can get in some tiny corners as well. And I am using a water brush this time, trying to keep it as dry as possible. And literally just squishing that colour. And apologies, my light's gone a bit tonight. It doesn't last long in this room. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope you have a pleasant day. And let's just brought that to life just a little bit. So we've got some more books, and just bring these to this side and then I'm not constantly crossing over. So you could either work by just touching a colour and moving it across. In fact, I could do that. Just touch a bit of this colour, especially with the water brush. Although I do say that Derwent's, oops, just get to those there. Derwent's water brushes are a little bit drier. I probably wouldn't do that, but really quick. And you're just literally touching. So you can use it two ways. You can either touch the bar and just manipulate the colour, or you can take the bar out and scratch, and if you want just the tiniest amount on the edge, you can then manipulate it where you want it. And of course they're very, very, very strong because it's all pure colour. And I quite like using it like that, it's quite nice. Either one, again, it's quite nice and soft and simple to use. This is Duck Egg Blue number 31. Just above there's another one, so using a pale green on this one. This is number 18, Kiwi. It's almost like a lime green. And then we have a turquoise colour. If it's getting a bit strong, it's pure watercolour is this, so you can just manipulate it if you didn't want all that colour there. And the one that's fallen down could have primary red, which is going to be quite bright, but we can tone it down. When it's dried, I can tone that down a bit. And then there's a beige colour, so I think that little cottage could be beige coloured, I think. Be quite nice. And because they're really well pigmented, they just kind of melt onto the page. Not sure if that's a book or if it's, not quite sure about that one. But I'm just going to put this pink oxide on, and again just scratching a bit of colour, and then they just completely melts. And I would like some natural brown. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of yellow in there, but I think I'm going to use a small brush. Don't know if I've got any water. So I've got processed yellow now, which I didn't have. So I think that's going to be the one to use for all the windows, I think. I think that might be the one to use, and if I do most of those first, I won't forget. Sorry, I do apologise. I'm not quite sure what he's seen. Sorry about that. Alfie was having a moment. So I now need to pick a colour for the wood, and I always like, there's a lot of wood down here, so I think I might do um, cocoa. So I'll just see what cocoa looks like. And of course, how quick is this? To just, oopsie, sorry, I've just scratched, and the colour just melts, completely disappears and melts. So if I do this one, scratch colour across, and that one can be slightly darker, so I'm going to use raw umber to be underneath. And if you just see that just absolutely disintegrates, really nice to work with. All the hard work's been done because it's grayscale, and then manipulate that dark underneath. And then we want a book shade for there, so cocoa's going to be the one that I go around the edges. I'll leave that one out. There's a warm grey that looks quite nice, number 6, A54 warm grey. I think that would be quite nice. And this is quite a nice colour, this green earth. I think that would be quite nice. And if you put the colour on the edge and leave the middle, when you manipulate it into a colour, it's going to give you a natural highlight, which you can either get rid of or you can keep. So this is going to be fairly quick, this one, which is again sometimes quite nice. Scratch a bit of colour, and then just manipulate it with a drop of water. The water brush is very quick, and this one is particularly dry, so it's just damp enough. It's the number 1 Derwent rigger, and I love this one because it behaves itself quite well, and it's tiny compared to the bar. This is a half rigger 64 series number 2, so it's quite nice. It's quite nice. being a water brush, it just continues. Missed a goldfish there, found a goldfish. I think I did the goldfish primary yellow, I think I did. Process yellow, so number 1. And then I can scratch some colour across there. And remember, when you get so far, you're going to have that colour, so you don't need to use it all the time. So if I start this here, even though it's melting, more and more is getting on this brush. So if I do have an area that doesn't have any, I can just manipulate it. I think these might be a little bit darker, so scratch a bit of darkness in there. Oops, that's green. That's the wrong colour. I'll do cocoa. So I just got away with that, I think. And that's natural brown, 55. So don't want too much water out of this brush. But the colour's like butter, it just melts. So I think that's no, I may have to so I hope you got a rough idea of how easy it is. Most of this is now going to be quite boring because I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Scratch colour, but in a very short space of time I've done quite a lot. Hi Jane, welcome to Benny's Designs. So I've managed to do most of that in just a short space of time. And I think they're really, really, really quick, the art bars. So you can do the whole of this without too much thought for this particular frame. It's just going to be the same colour. And the Derwent art bar for the colour and the little Derwent watercolour brush for just a small amount of water makes this job fairly quick. And again, you really need, I've let this go quite dry because I don't like it too wet. It seems to behave itself quite well if you're very quick with it. So that was a very quick show and tell about my new Derwent art bars in my Colin Thompson colour book. Thanks for watching.